And we're live, I think. Indeed, we are. Amazing. Hello, my dear people. Quite an unusual time and day for me to go live on the public channel. And I know I've been AWOL for a little bit, and I apologize for that. Things have happened. A lot of things have happened in my life. Things like momentum just got really, really massive, and a lot of things aligned. Mainly positive and really nice things that kind of took away all the time and attention from me, but also a handful of sad things, tragic things. And I will try my best to come back to a little bit of a normal, regular schedule, but I cannot right now promise to go back to the normal schedule. Before I went on vacation, I pre-recorded like 10 videos and I timed them very poorly. I just popped them all out there. Was like, well, I have the video, might as well share it. So that was not very smart of me. And that's why there was such a big break in video production on my part. But I shall come back, and the next topic on the public channel will be about dealing with loss and grief and how to, well, move on from that essentially. However, my most recent loss literally just happened a few hours ago, and I'm not looking so fresh. I'm still dealing with everything. So I'm gonna take another day or 2 or 3 to properly deal with my own grief. And then I guess on the weekend or on Monday next week, I shall be back with pre-recorded videos. It's like I got a new camera and it's so clear and high resolution in HD. I can't even hide a clogged pore in front of you guys anymore. So there's just no way in hell I'm gonna record an actual proper video while I look like this. I know it looks okay on this camera, but trust me, it does not look as fresh and good in real life. Anyhow, I have a few hours till my next vet appointment, so I thought to myself, why not just smack, hit, shoot a bunch of metaphorical birds with one stone, and just dive into something I love doing and I haven't done in a while. Coming live and doing a letter to Nis. Yeah, I know I'm behind. But anyways, let's talk about this. So I'm gonna do something that I would usually not do, and I'm gonna explain to you. But first, let me read you the first paragraph of this letter. It starts with, I'm in love with a friend who does not love me back. Hey, Nis, please do not say my name. I am scared that the person I'm talking about or our friends could identify me through this story. You can call me Jake as a code name if you want to. Thank you. Now, normally I would not even read that part out loud, but in this case I do, because I will use this in my response to you and your situation. However, 2 things that I want to tell you, Jake. Number 1, the story that I'm about to share with you is only active in your own brain. And even if every single one of your friends would regularly watch my channel and would even watch this video, you can be assured that unless you would tell them specifically, hey, that's me, that's about me, yeah, that was my letter, nobody would actually realize this. So that's number 1. And number 2, I have taken the liberty to substitute a few of the details in your body, in the body of the letter. No, grammar, English, amazing. So that you can still feel comfortable when you watch this and not freak out, okay? One more thing for all of you. I will talk about the topic of unrequited love in general, but also go specifically into Jake's issue here. And I have to say that up until I received this letter, I did not know Jake. Usually, or very often, I get these letters from either former clients or channel members. So I usually have a lot of background information that I can use to fill the story and give even more precise detail help. In this case, Jake, you've been a stranger to me until a few weeks ago, and I also do not recognize you from any of my comments. I think you are a silent viewer in the background, and that's fine. It's just that in this case, I have to work with the material that I have, and I shall make some assumptions. If you feel in any way, shape, or form that I got something wrong or you want to clarify something, please feel free to write me another letter and we can figure it out, okay? So now we're going to jump right into the body of it all. So Jake says, I have developed strong feelings for a girl in my friend group. We are not very close, but we do get to spend time together in group settings. I always found her to be pretty, but nothing too special. Lately, however, I have found myself obsessing over her. I get anxious and do not know how to behave in front of her at all. I have a lot of bad self talk, and no matter what I plan on saying to her or doing, when I actually see her, I behave like the biggest idiot and treat her quite badly. I know for a fact that she does not have feelings for me. A while ago, we played Truth or Dare when we were all a bit drunk, and she was asked to say who out of all of us she would make out with if she had to. I was sitting next to her and couldn't help but stare in anticipation of her answer. A mutual friend got wind of this and asked, What about Jake? And her reaction broke my heart. She immediately shook her head and said, Not even for money, and then went on to choose another girl from our group of friends. I laughed it off and joked about this, but was clearly uncomfortable with it. A while after, she came and apologized for being so harsh, but also said, I didn't mean to be hurtful. I just didn't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I would never even hold hands with any of you guys. I don't do that with friends. Since then, she has been so distant. Not that she was ever particularly close to me before, but I feel like it has gotten even worse. I told an unrelated friend about the situation, and she advised me to just get over it. This girl would be out of my league anyways. I don't know what to do here. I read everywhere that you can manifest anyone you want and how it doesn't matter if they like you or not, or that circumstances don't matter at all, but I just cannot shake that feeling / knowledge that she really is repulsed by me. That's a very strong choice of words, Jake, but we're going to talk about it. How do I get over this? Is there any hope? And for some information, I broke up with my ex because I felt I deserved better about 5 months ago. I don't want her back at all, and I do not regret my decision to break up. I've known this new girl for a few years now, but only started getting obsessed with her about 4 months ago, so shortly after my breakup. I don't know if this is relevant, but you asked for some more details on previous letter videos. Thank you so much for considering my letter. Love your content. You're the best. I know. Thank you. Okay. So I don't know your age, but just guessing, assuming from the circumstances that you've shared here, I think that you are probably on the longer and what the hellness? I need sleep. On the younger end of the spectrum. Also, based on her reaction, I don't think that you're like 40 plus. I think you're probably more my age or younger, like in your 20s, somewhere there. And I also do not have any info about your ex and your breakup other than the you felt like you deserve better, which is always a good feeling to have. And then to break up is always or is usually a good decision, right? But anyways, I want to start at the very beginning. You wanting me to not say your name because you are scared that you could get exposed here. This is the very first big, don't really want to call it a red flag, but it kind of is a red flag for me that you are so insecure about your general sense of deserving to even have feelings for somebody, that this is something that you should really need to consider first. Your entire idea of self-worth. Now I know that when we are crushing on somebody and it is somebody who's like not completely new, or it's a friend, like in your case, even if you're not that super close, right, there's always a lot of thoughts around the topic of, oh, but what if this goes wrong? What if I ruin the friendship? What if something happens and then the entire friend group goes against me or breaks apart or stuff like that? But unless you are a teenager, after a certain age, when you hit your 20s, I would say that everyone could absolutely and should absolutely expect having feelings and developing feelings and being in situations that are a little bit awkward or just something uncomfortable, like unrequited or potentially unrequited love. That's a bit of a question here, right? I put a little question mark in the thumbnail for that. If we are in these situations, that we treat this really as adults, and that we understand that developing feelings for somebody is the most normal thing in the universe. It's as normal as farting, as taking a shit, as eating, as sleeping. And to feel a sense of being exposed just by mentioning your name on a platform like YouTube, where there are so many, I don't know how many million people are here, chances that anybody you know will stumble across that video are so freakishly low. There's a bigger chance that you get abducted by aliens or something like that, right? But this just is a very big sign for me that you have a general sense of being uncomfortable with this topic. There is an airplane or something, or a helicopter. I hope you can't hear it. It's kind of loud. But okay, so this is just like generally something before you even, and this is for all of you guys, before you even attempt to, please recognize my face. Hello? Excuse me? Jesus. iPhones. Before you even attempt to start a relationship with somebody, or attempt to come clean about your feelings, right? To approach somebody, to start anything towards the general direction of romantic relationships, you really need to get comfortable about the topic of love and relationship and connections and having feelings and being vulnerable itself. Because if you do not clear these things out before you enter the relationship, they will become a problem in the relationship. And then it quite frankly does not matter whether you manifest somebody on purpose or by accident, or if they like you or not like you, or if they are a great match or if they are a horrible match for you. It really doesn't matter. It's just gonna get all kind of like washed out. It all comes up to the surface and you will struggle freaking tremendously. So the effect that having insecurities around this general topic of love and emotions, having feelings for somebody, this feeling of being vulnerable, naked, and exposed, if you have general issues with that, this will translate into having communication issues. This will translate into you being either cruel and using the other person, or you flip over into being cruel to yourself and becoming a people pleaser. It always results in some kind of very uncomfortable and well, it can get up to detrimental versions of compromises that you have to take into your personality, your life, and into this relationship for the sake of keeping something alive that is built on such a weak foundation. It's usually comes with a whole boatload of attachment, of dependency, of codependency, and it will inevitably fall apart. So this is like the very first thing for you, Jake, before you do anything about any girl at all. Get your shit together on that topic. Like when it comes to this, you really need emotional maturity. And if you hit the age of 20, I expect you to start working on that. You do not have to be a pro automatically, but it's very important. If you want to have a relationship like a grown-ass person, you got to behave like a grown-ass person and treat these topics like a grown-ass person would do, right? You cannot be childish and adolescent about these topics. So that's the very first thing. That's also the reason why I even mentioned this. Can you please recognize my face? Thank you. Okay, then the next part, and now we're going to jump right to the end where you give those details that are very, very relevant indeed. That you broke up with your ex about 5 months ago, which is not a very long time, right? You broke up with that ex because you realized that you deserve better. So I just assume that your ex has mistreated you in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how this actually looked like because you didn't tell me, right? But I assume that there was some kind of, potentially, just based on everything that you said in this letter to me, I do assume, I do see patterns here. So I will just assume that you generally have potentially a tendency to people please, and that you have potentially given too much of yourself to that ex and not enough to you, right? And I do know that you obviously watch my stuff and you are obviously in this manifesting game. So you potentially also watch a lot of other people's stuff. So you have realized potentially already the importance of a strong self-concept, which I just assume led you to realizing that you are investing into a black hole and that you are depriving yourself of all the good things because you constantly give to the ex, give to the ex, give to the ex, right? Then you break up with her. And then only a month after the breakup, somebody that you have noticed before, but that you not really paid a lot of attention. You say you know this girl, this new specific girl that you want, right? You've known this girl for years, right? Was it just 1 year? No, it was years actually. You've known her for a while, but you've never done anything to actually get even a little bit closer to her, right? Your relationship to this girl as well, she is a part of the friend group, and that's it. And then only a month after the breakup, you start becoming not only interested in her, but you said it yourself, obsessed with her. And then you start treating her like shit, right? You treat her badly and you act like an idiot. Now, again, I don't know how it actually looks like in your case, but I have a quite vivid imagination and I have very much experienced this type of behavior in my own life. Honestly, I've also treated people I like very much like complete garbage just because of insecurities. And of course, I have a boatload of professional experience here. So what I see here is a very clear pattern of, now that I have realized I have been people pleasing and overextending myself and compromising myself, I go from one extreme swoop to the complete opposite extreme. Right now, I have learned from my previous experience with this ex that I cannot people please. So instead of immediately being able to go to the middle ground and this is my Zen mode, this is my peace, this is my neutral, slightly optimistic, you first have to experience the other extreme as well. Right? This is very normal. When we've been in one camp for a while, even if it's a short while, but we've dominantly been people pleaser, we usually transform into massive assholes and even narcissists. Sometimes the narcissistic tendencies, not that we just full-blown develop a mental disorder or personality disorders, that's not going to happen overnight, but we go to the other extreme. And I myself did the exact same thing. I also woke up one day and realized, well, all the goody two-shoes out there just get fucked constantly. They never get what they want. So let's be an asshole on purpose for a little bit, right? So I was for a while there, I was living on purpose as an asshole. I was really putting on purpose the absolute worst that I've got inside of me up front and lived from that personality dominantly, just to realize that this is exhausting. It's equally exhausting to be an ass as it is to be a wannabe goody two-shoes people pleaser, right? And only then I was able, now that I've experienced both parts of duality, to slowly but surely, like a pendulum, come to my own personal middle ground, which is still quite bitchy. Let's be real here, right? But this is very normal. So this is where I take my assumptions from, just assuming that you are a human being and this is how we do as human beings. Now, I think that you are actually not in love with her. And I know that's a bold statement. And you probably, when you watch this, you will probably go like, no, I love her. I'm still gonna be like, brother, no, you don't. But you found something within this particular girl that you have not found in other girls prior, and that you have not found, detected, realized within yourself. That's the entire enchilada. When we are lacking something on the inside, and we, due to our life experience, our upbringing, our self-concept, aka our opinions, preferences, and the entire enchilada of who we think we are, when we think that we cannot generate this from within, we start looking for it on the outside. And this is why the entire collective of manifestors and conscious creators and gurus and hippies and spiritual people all exist in first place. That's the only freaking reason why we're here. It's also the reason why I'm here. Really, it's just like that. We are looking to fulfill things that are lacking within us with things from the outside. Why are we trying to manifest anything on purpose? We believe it's going to make us feel better. We believe it's going to bring us something, right? It's not always just the, oh, well, if I have that, I'm going to be happy. Like law of attraction usually says, oh, you just want it because you think it makes you happy. No, sometimes you also want something because you assume that once you have it, you're going to feel safe. You're going to feel secure. You're going to feel like you belong. You're going to feel excited. You're going to feel all kinds of things, really, the entire emotional enchilada spectrum, all colors of the rainbow. Right? So this is what we do. We recognize a lack within us, and it really doesn't matter what it is. And we believe, due to our self-concept, that we cannot fulfill this just by generating it internally, even though we can with our thoughts and focus. But we don't really know this. We don't really realize that, especially not when it's in a topic or in a field, in an area of our life where we are more or less autopiloting around rather than consciously creating, right? So then we look for things on the outside to bring us that, to get that fulfillment. Now, you did not actually give me any traits of this girl, so I really don't know what it is in particular that you are so drawn to her, that you want so much from her, that attracts you so much to her. I don't know. I can only make assumptions, and I shall make a few assumptions, but only in a minute or so. I want to give you another example for this, to really hammer this into your brain, to really understand that you're not doing this because you are stupid or you don't know better or anything. It's literally by design. When we lack nutrients, when we lack energy, when we lack calories, we want food. Now, could we generate all of these things within us, from within us? Yeah, we can. Our body is very much possible, is very much able, is very much capable, there we go, is very much capable to take everything it needs from our existing body. It can literally digest itself. It can break down your fat, it can break down your muscle, it can break down specific other connective tissues for the sake of generating these things within yourself, especially when it comes to food. Not necessarily when it comes to water. We do really rely on an outside source. When it comes to oxygen and stuff like that, of course, we need outside sources for that. But when it comes to just food, we can actually eat ourselves. Like, it sounds a little bit weird, but it's true. So when we get hungry, when we lack all of these things, we get a chemical reaction in our body, in our brain. The hormone ghrelin gets a spike. We feel hunger. We recognize this hunger as a sign of a lack of nutrients or energy or whatever the hell it is that you're wanting. Maybe you, I don't know, crave a pizza or something. Maybe it's specifically fat or proteins or fiber. I don't know. Do we crave fiber? I think when you're vegan, potentially. I do crave fiber though, yeah. So you crave this, and then instead of sitting on your butt and being like, I shall digest myself, I shall tell my stomach to just, and my entire body to just take all of the stuff I don't need anyways anymore, all the excess fat and whatnot that I've got stored in my buttocks, and just digest myself. You can choose to do this. This is where intermittent fasting, for instance, comes in handy, or comes from. The entire idea of that comes from that mechanism in our body, right? But the first impulse trigger is to go and get food, is to go and get something from the outside and shove it into our mouth holes and then give our body that. So while we have the ability to digest ourselves, we rather would not. We'd rather get it from the outside, right? And when it comes to manifesting anything, it's exactly the same thing. We have in every way, shape, or form the ability to fulfill ourselves with that what we are lacking. We can generate any freaking emotion. Again, the entire enchilada of emotions, the entire colors, all the colors of the rainbow, we can generate them within ourselves simply by our focus. And the evidence for this would be actors. Actors are incredibly capable of doing that. They can get triggered and angry and hateful and resentful, or super happy and lucky and whatnot, regardless of how they themselves as humans actually are feeling in the moment. They are able to assume these states, these mental and emotional and then physical states, right? So that's it. But here's the twist. If you don't know this, if you do not have the information stored in your brain that your body can digest itself, or that you can conjure up any freaking emotional sensation and even physical sensation that you want, if you don't have clarity on this and this knowledge is not super accessible to you immediately in every moment of your life, then you will automatically go and look in other people to fulfill that. So there is something within this girl that you have, now that you've left your ex and you've made this decision and you are happy about this decision. You have really raised your standard here, a little bit at least. And you have really raised your self-concept a little bit at least by saying, hold on, I deserve better. Right? You are at peace with this decision, but you are not used to having better. You have not done this for yourself yet. God knows how you grew up. God knows what people shed in your brain, what they told you, what kind of lies they told you to keep you in check, right? I don't know your background, but you have not yet experienced this better version. This is obvious in your behavior and your choice of words to me. So then you see her, you get attracted. And because you have this belief within you that I cannot fulfill this on my own, or you just flat out maybe even lack that knowledge I just gave you, right? You are focusing on her and you get obsessed with her, but because you're not used to it, you are actually scared. And even though it's not actually scary to have feelings for somebody, like really not, it's not a big deal. It's a very normal thing. And getting rejected is a normal thing. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but you can become very resilient through getting rejected and dealing with it and getting over it. But anything and everything that is unfamiliar to you kind of gets recognized by your brain as a form of threat. And then what happens is the classic fight or flight response in your brain. Scusi, I need a sip of coffee. The fight or flight response is the most primitive, primal, lizard monkey brain shit in the universe. We all have it, and it shows up in so many different situations and so many shapes and forms and whatnot, that just because you cannot really calculate the outcome and you have the attachment, you think on some level, you believe that you cannot get this thing that's lacking within you fulfilled if it does not come from her. You make yourself, your emotional state, dependent on her reaction, right? So you put a whole lot of pressure on yourself there. And this is why your brain goes into fight or flight response. You feel the anxiety and you don't really know how to behave. Now, this is why I assume that you've previously been a people pleaser and potentially still are a people pleaser who is masking himself, who is currently trying out to be a jerk just for data, essentially. You choose. It might be subconsciously, it might be not on purpose, but you still make the decision to act badly around her and to even treat her badly, right? This desire stems from previously having made the experience to having to eat shit if you do not treat people badly. I don't know where you got your knowledge about relationships, about women, about men, about all of this stuff. I don't know where you take it from, but I do assume it comes somewhere from the internet, and it most likely comes from some kind of relationship coach idiot that tells you to manipulate and whatnot, right? But you have learned this strategy somewhere. Maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've seen it in other people. Maybe you've seen, I don't know, some jock from your school getting all the pretty girls and he behaves like a complete dipshit. So you have subconsciously registered, oh, if I behave like a complete dipshit, I'm gonna get all the girls, right? That's a complete misassumption. Assumptions are usually wrong unless I make them, of course. Ha. But you got it somewhere. And when you get the trigger to act in a specific way, even though, and I totally feel you on that, even though it feels like everything happens automatically and you're like a puppet and somebody else is pulling the strings, it is still you who decides to actually act on these impulses. So when she comes along, when she is in your friend group, when you see her and you start behaving crappy, you start treating her crappy, it is still you who makes the decision to just do it. You could also get the impulse to say something stupid or treat her in a shitty way, be rude or something like that, right? And decide to not do it. Believe it or not, you have that freedom. You are so freakishly free, and you're also strong enough to do this. You just have to do it, not question it, right? And you have to learn from the thing. So when you say something stupid today, then you need to learn from that and set the intention for yourself that you shall say something a little bit less stupid tomorrow and then inch your way there, right? You also have to understand that people, it's a general psychological thing, people are so concerned about how they come across to other people. Like even I'm concerned if I have under eye bags or look like I cried the entire night, that I will not make a video with my super cool awesome new camera because people will see this. So even I am concerned about how I come across and how I look when I'm presenting myself, right? And what you need to understand though is that everybody is like that, and usually people are so freakishly consumed with their own insecurities that they don't even pay attention to yours. And even if they get wind of it, even if it comes like even if they notice this somehow or say something, they think about this for 5 freaking seconds and then they forget about it, and they focus on being anxious over their own appearance and what people think about them literally 5 seconds afterwards. And I have evidence for you. I have the proof. If my phone recognized my freaking face again. Hello. They are so expensive and then they don't really function well. Never mind. You said, where is it? Let me find it. That she, after she said not even for money, after she kind of embarrassed you, rejected you openly in front of the entire friend group, right? You said that she came to you to kind of sort of apologize and clear the air. And what I find particularly interesting here is that she said, let me just freaking find this. Oh, here. I didn't mean to be hurtful. That's the apology part. And then she says, I just didn't want anyone to get the wrong idea. This is the proof for you that this girl has insecurities just like you. I mean, the doy, if we're looking at the entire enchilada of conscious creation, we know that she's a mirror to you. We know that she has the same shit cooking that you have. Is the same. It's just on opposites. You know, it's the same. It's one goddamn problem, just two opposite sides of the same freaking problem coin, essentially, right? But just the fact that she, after she said that, and it doesn't seem to me like she said it immediately. It seemed to me like the game was done. You guys were finished and moved on to something else. And then she came to apologize. So from that moment on where you felt heartbroken and exposed and humiliated and whatnot and tried to laugh it off and make jokes about it, she was consumed by her own image, how she gets judged, seen by others, by her own potential reputation that was now in question marks, right? So she didn't even give a shit about you. It's not because she doesn't like you or anything, or because you cannot help her, but because she's human. And we all do this, and it's fucking hilarious. So you have that. There's so many things, so many life, and that's why I assume that you're young. There are so many things that you will inevitably learn just when you live life a little bit longer. right? There are a lot of things here. Next aspect I want to talk about is the two things. You say that you have very bad self-talk. Why? And how and what? Question these things. Every time I hear a bold ass statement from somebody else, or I myself say something that's bold ass, I always, even online, say, oh, that's a bold ass statement. I even check in with my own brain. Sometimes I'll be saying something, because usually when I do these videos, especially live streams, I don't think, right? It's just like, it's a live stream. Even in my brain, it's just the wall comes all that's I don't know. I just got to be in alignment with myself here in order to get it right? To like hit the nerve there, which I usually am. But even I check in with myself. So I say something and then I'm like, well, that's a bold ass statement. Is that even true? Right? And then I question this. And I question, well, where is this coming from? Right? In your case, and this counts for bad self-talk in general, when you have these voices, whether it's your own or it's like some stupid ass other voice, or it's just a thought form, it's sentences, or it's just feelings, whatever it is, however you perceive it, these are all echoes from your past experience. These are things that you have learned for the sake of self-preservation, for the sake of, well, not dying, not getting excluded from the group, not getting alienated, and not being alone. That's the whole thing. So somebody has told you these things that your brain is now repeating back to you. And they said this potentially because they got triggered. And now you have this echo as kind of a warning that comes back in your brain and says that you're too stupid, that you cannot do this, that blah, 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 blah. And then you try, this is the next step, next thing I want to talk about, then you try to micromanage that by planning ahead what you're going to say to her and what you're going to do. It's not working. None of this is manifesting. This is struggling, okay? You are struggling so hardcore and so unnecessarily. And by planning ahead, you paint this picture of what it needs to be like. And then you get not only attached to the girl herself, but you also get attached to the entire scenario, the situation, how it needs to unfold in front of you. And this is, quite frankly, not your freaking job. Your job as a conscious creator is to become very clear on what it is that you want, and then commit your ass to this. And that's it, right? I ideally don't waver. Ideally don't wobble. And if you do wobble, meditate, okay? Center yourself. But this whole like planning ahead, no. I personally do like in some situations to like mentally rehearse something, especially when I make videos pre-edited or pre-recorded videos. I do like making sure that I really consider all the facts, that I really have activated all the synapses in my brain that are relevant for the topic that I'm going to talk about. I like doing that. So in those instances, I also rehearse some of my material in my head, or right before I have a client session. I know what's going on. I do rehearse aspects, parts, for the sake of ensuring that the right freaking synapses are firing in my brain, that this crap is actually activated. But the way it then comes out of my mouth once I am in session, or once I am in the recording thingy, then it's completely different. And there's nothing I can do about it. I have not once in my entire existence rehearsed something, a sentence or a thing that I wanted to do, and then did it exactly like that. It's just, nah. Maybe in school when somebody held a metaphorical gun to my head and forced me to do it. But no, this is not how it works. But the problem is that you are attached to this. I'm not. I understand why I do it, and I utilize it as a tool for myself. You do it because you're anxious, because you believe that if you do not rehearse every little word that comes out of your mouth in the next 20 minutes or hours or however long it takes you to prepare for those meetings, right? You believe that if you do not rehearse that and if you not practice this, it's going to go wrong. So you come from fear. You make decisions, you create scenarios in your mind, you put your focus on topics because of fear. And for that, I invite you to watch one of my latest videos the difference between a desire that stems from fear and a desire that stems from inspiration. And the other video is how to avoid acting out of fear. Like really learning to decipher between the two things. It's very clear. It's crystal freaking clear. Once you get aware of this, it's very hard to not be aware of it anymore. Right? But all that you are doing with your little rehearsal thingy and your little planning is assuming. And by assuming, in that case, I mean becoming, not the, I throw out an assumption here, but I mean you become, you embody a person that needs to do this, that is required to rehearse this, because otherwise it's going to go bad. So you essentially, by doing this, judge your entire authentic essence to be not good enough. You need to be somebody else. You are criticizing yourself. You deem yourself to be less than. You deem yourself to be out of her league. And that gets reflected back even by your friend, right? We're going to talk about it in just a minute. But you put yourself in this state. This is your self-concept. And with this screwed, I am not worth it, I am not enough, I'm going to fuck it up regardless. With this thing, you enter this realm. You enter this new segment of your day where you then approach her, encounter her. And then everything goes haywire. Your brain is firing like a crazy person. You don't know what to do anymore. And the next best thing that pops up in your mind is some stupid strategies from God knows where you got them. I just assume it's some relationship gurus. Might also be an older brother or father or uncle, whatever, wherever you got these informations from, right? It might just be from your previous experience of being a potential people pleaser. Shut the fuck up. It's not potential. I know you've been a people pleaser. I can see it in your text. Okay, so sue me if I'm wrong, but I'm quite certain I know what I'm talking about. And you, my dude, my Jake, my brother, nah, you have been a people pleaser, and now you're testing out the other areas. And it might just be from that experience that you are now trying a new territory that you've never tried before. By the way, the shut the fuck up was supposed to be directed towards myself, not towards you. I say this to myself whenever I try to justify something, or I start bullshitting, or I start like, when those thoughts come, like, then I always say to myself, and I say at least 10 times every single day of my life, shut the fuck up, brain, just zip it, okay? I don't give a shit what you just want from me, like, be weird. I'm not. You do you. So I split this aspect away from myself. Just for clarification, and do I realize that I just justified something and then talked about what I do when I justify things? Yes, I do. It's hilarious. But back to you, Jake. So next aspect I want to talk about is your friend, how your friend reacted. The fact that you went to an unrelated friend instead of like, I don't know, I get that you're too anxious to talk directly to the girl. I understand that, right? But just the simple fact that you chose somebody who is not part of this friend group, this is what I just assume unrelated friend means here. It shows me that it's the same issue again that you had, that I talked about in the beginning of this video, this I don't want to be exposed. I don't want people to know this of me. This is something that I'm kind of embarrassed about, or that I'm just uneasy about. I don't want, essentially you're saying, I don't want people to see my authentic self unless I can carefully curate it, unless I can carefully micromanage everything and put all the players on the playboard thingy. Jess, go away, thank you. Chess board, and really just watch everything with hawk's eyes, right? You don't want your authentic self to be seen, but the unfortunate, in your case, usually it's really pretty fortunate, honestly, the state of the universe and what life really is, it is a reflection of your authentic self. You cannot get away from it. So even if you're trying to hide it, even if you're trying to fake it, even if you're trying to wear your little masks, or you do the I'm gonna fake it till I make it, the make it never happens. If you fake it, the make it is never going to happen, period. That's just it. It is, no matter what you do, no matter if you play it off if you laugh it off, if you, I don't know, try pretend to be extra cool or easy or smooth or not interested in her, it really doesn't matter. What you get back is the reflection of who you are, and nothing more and nothing less. And that's just a fact. So might as well get comfortable. Might as well just radically accept who you are and accept everything that is an aspect of you, right? Just even the stuff that you have taken on from other people, like the stuff where I told you question these things when you have bad self-talk. Where the hell is this even coming from? What asshole told me this and for what reason? Is this relevant? Is this my truth? Is this part of who I authentically am? Yes or no? If you're unclear, I just popped out a very nice meditation is the word I'm looking for. A very nice meditation where you can meet your authentic self, where you can really get a visual representation of who you believe you are and then who you actually are. It's quite cool. It's an awesome cat hair floating, amazing. It's an awesome little new, I wanted to say manifestation again. It's a meditation. You can go try this out. But even the parts that might not be your truth, the parts that are correct for you right now, the parts that are relevant for you right now. So the parts, I'm a loser, I don't like myself, I'm not good enough, I'm blah, 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 whatever the hell this voice in your brain is telling you, just radically accept it for now. Just be like, yep, I'm a loser, I'm a dipshit, I am a, I don't know, whatever the hell comes up. Just sit there and be like, this is who I right now believe I am, and that's okay. It's, I mean, I live it anyway, so there's nothing I can do about it. Right? As long as I do not accept things for what they seem to be, for how I interpret them, and I can get very clear on what my opinion and my interpretation of any and every circumstance is by just like watching how I feel. If I feel crappy about something, then I have a crappy opinion about whatever circumstance is presenting itself to me, right? And as long as you have any kind of emotional dependency to whatever circumstance, you cannot change it. You can't. You really cannot. In other videos, I called it the bubble world of circumstances. While you are in the bubble world itself, you cannot change the bubble world. Everything that you do will just add to more focus on that circumstance. It just expands the bubble world and makes it more profound and more real and hardens it even more into your 3D life experience, because while you're in it, you pay attention to it. It's very hard not to pay attention to it. And if you try to ignore it, well, good luck. It's impossible to ignore things that are bothering you, right? You can't ignore it. If you ignore something on purpose, you're not ignoring it. You're like on purpose looking away with the internal focus towards that thing. So what you got to do is you have to leave that bubble world. And that means you need to be emotionally independent from that circumstance. It means that while you still find that circumstance itself crappy and shitty and deem it to be not in your favor, not what you want, that's totally fine. It does not alter your mood. It does not make you feel crappy. You can say that something is ugly without having a strong emotional, physical reaction towards it, right? Being the sky, essentially. That's the thing. Being the sky is emotional detachment, and that leads to emotional independence. To answer one of your questions about the whole enchilada of circumstances and whether they matter or not, and I have a video, a live stream on exactly that topic. I forgot how I called it, but focus on it for a hot minute and you're gonna find it on my channel. So go watch that if you want to know more. Anyways, I completely lost track. I don't know where I was. I don't know what I wanted to do next. I'm just gonna have a sip of coffee right now. I've been talking for almost 50 minutes. Amazing. So we had the circumstances, we had the girl thingy, we had her freaking out, we had you freaking out. Oh yeah, I was talking about the friend that you went to. This friend that told you that you should just get over it. Easier said than done. I'd like your friend to do that in that exact situation, right? You can only emotionally detach. That's why I had this entire like side talk about the emotional independence. Brain, you always make sense like in the after effect. Amazing. Never mind. This is where you need to emotionally detach, essentially, if your goal is to get over it. And you should get over it. You should, for now, again, accept the circumstances for whatever you believe they are. Doesn't mean it's true. I don't see any evidence from what you've told me here that this girl is repulsed by you. I think this is a very bold statement. And I think it's a reflection of just how devastated you are in this situation. And I understand it. It's okay. We've all been there, right? But you need to change your words that you're using. She is in no way, shape, or form repulsed by you. I can guarantee you that. If you don't believe yourself, believe me. Okay? But your friend has essentially just echoed back at you, has shown you again who you are and who you truly believe you are, right? Not who you are by essence, not the authentic, untouched, perfect, beautiful stream of consciousness that has manifested in this physical body, but who life made you, who you have become due to your life experiences. This, she is out of your league anyways. This is a strong belief that you carry, even if you don't want to carry it. But again, and I base this on your ex relationship, right? Just the fact that you realize there that she, the ex, is kind of below your standard, that you do deserve better. This was like the first step that you took. But just because you took the first step does not mean that you can now sprint, run, jump, or ride a bike, right? You have to take it step by step. So, of course, this new belief now gets challenged, seemingly. This is why some people are believing, which is an incorrect assumption again, and that the universe is testing you before you actually get your desire. The universe is not giving a shit about you. The universe does not care. The universe cannot care. The universe does not have an opinion about you. The universe is, there is no polarity. It just is. It's neutral. It might be slightly optimistic, but actually slightly optimistic is your part, not the universe's part. The universe just, I'm the universe and that's it. That's cool. The universe really does not give a shit about you. There is no reason for the universe to test you, right? But it seems like this. It gives the impression of a challenge or a test or something, simply because of how we are made on a biological level. You have lived for an extended amount of time dominantly in being somebody who allows, who accepts, and who, I cannot find the correct word, tolerates, there we go, thank you brain, who tolerates treatment that is actually below him. You've been there for a while and you've just taken it all in. So this is your current like footprint. This is your current way you're wired. This is your current expectation. And I said it before, I'm kind of just repeating the same stuff over and over again in kind of different versions until you all get it. Right? But you just stepped out of this. You just have taken your first little steps out of this. Everything that is established in your brain, within your neural pathways, within your synapses, your connections, whatever the hell is going up there, all little electricity and a little poopsie, it's a lighting up in your brain. What is established is that what you're used to. And this is active in your brain, and this is your lived reality, and this has been your truth, right? And now you say, hold on, I deserve better. But you don't know what that better looks like. It's scary. Do I really deserve better? I don't know. I've never experienced it. God damn it. How the hell am I supposed to know? It's scary. The only thing that I know for a fact is where I used to be. I do not want to be there anymore. I want to move forwards. But that moving forwards, well, that's a scary place, not because it's really unknown, but actually because you assume the worst. You assume that this will kill you. You assume that you will get thrown out, kicked out of this friendship group. You're going to lose all of your friends. You will never get this girl or anybody else. You will never get that need fulfilled that I talked about in the beginning. And that's it. That's the end. You're going to be miserable forever. right? So this is what you're afraid of. You're not afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of the worst case freaking scenario your brain can come up with. Very creative in these efforts. And this is why it feels like this. And these things are manifesting rapidly now. And this includes your friend using these specific words. And also this girl saying these things like, just to make it clear, and I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, and not even for money, like those harsh words that even surprised her. It seems to me like it was even not normal for her to be that harsh, right? You kind of triggered it out of her because you have so much focus on it. It is so active in your brain. And with much focus, with much awareness around the topic, you create much energy, much momentum, and a boatload, a huge, big ass elephant ass sized amount of momentum manifests like this, especially if you do not have resistance towards it. And while you might have freshly new learned resistance towards it because you have realized, hold on, I deserve better, the majority of your beliefs are supporting, I don't. No, that's what I'm used to. So you have less resistance towards the old crap that you're already used to, and more resistance towards the stuff that's new that you're not used to. And this is why you need to be emotionally independent from all of this. To answer your question, can we manifest anything and everyone, regardless of the circumstances? Yes. Should we? Hell no. Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Will all of us attempt to still do it and force our ways and our manifestations into existence? Yep, we're human. We do it. And we also like problems. We like the struggle. We like problem solving. Not because we admire the problem itself, but we love the relief that comes once we either drop it or we have solved it, right? So yes, absolutely, you can totally, but you should not. You should have awareness over your intention behind that manifestation, that desire. You need to get clear on what the hell is lacking within me. Potentially self-love. Potentially it is some kind of everything. Honestly, in your case, it's some kind of self-esteem, it's confidence, it's freedom, it's decisiveness, it's support, it's being steady, it's knowing what you want and going for it, it's clarity, it's certainty, right? All of these things, maybe even excitement, maybe even joy, whatever the hell it is that's lacking within you, figure it out. Put words to these things, not names of people, not objects, not money amounts, not, I don't know, vacation, like, how do you call it, goals. What's a geographical goal? Destination. Wow, we're good today. Not vacation destinations, but emotional words. How do you want to feel? How do you feel right now? Get like clear on that. Not, I feel bad, I feel devastated. What is it actually that you're lacking? Do you feel lonely? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel tense? Do you feel, I don't know, whatever? And then find the opposite, right? I feel actually like I belong. I want to feel like I belong. Let's start with that. That's a good affirmation to use. I want to feel like I belong. I enjoy feeling like I belong to something. The joy, I have a friend group, right? I like hanging out with them. If you feel, what else did I say? That's a problem with not thinking while I'm talking. I don't remember the stuff that I'm actually saying. If you feel tense, I want to feel at ease. It's not easy right now, right? You're struggling. You're micromanaging the living hell out of this entire enchilada. And oh my God, like I can almost feel the amount of stress and oof, the amount of energy that goes into this entire control freaking micromanaging yourself in the situation and the frustration that comes. What you want is relief. You want ease. You want fun. You want it nice. You want ease. Ease is the biggest thing. You want it easy, okay? So find these words and then ask yourself, how the hell can I make myself feel easy? How the hell can I make myself feel funny? enjoyed. How can I enjoy life a little bit more? And then find other things. Do not make the fulfillment of these emotional desires dependent on her. Replace her picture in your brain with your own, or with food, or I don't know, a cat or a dog if you have them. If not, adopt 1 or 2 or 10. It's nice. I have 5 and a horse. So, hold on. I need to change the way I'm sitting because I'm sitting on both of my feet and they are now asleep. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. A little bit uncomfortable. See, I see comfort. And I do not see comfort right now from my cats because they're all somewhere God knows. And it would be highly impractical. So I just changed the way I sit. Is that a stupid example? Yes. Does it still work? Yes. Okay. So let me go over this thing one more time to make sure I've got everything that is relevant before I sum it up. Right? Generally, this idea that love is unrequited is not quite correct, because love itself, if it is true love, can technically never be unrequited. Love itself, if it's pure, if it's actual love, we're not talking attachment, we're not talking like some need to gratify yourself or whatnot. We're not talking pleasure, we're not talking anything. We're just really boring old kind of your enjoyable, steady flowing love. This can never be it can never be unrequited, because again, the world is an authentic reflection of your authentic self. So if you feel authentic love towards something or somebody, you get inevitably that authentic love reflected back at you. But if you authentically feel attachment, which you obviously do, you get that reflected back. If you authentically feel frustration towards some person because you believe they don't love you back, you get exactly that reflected back. It's very simple, actually. It's I know it's not easy to wrap your brain around it because we're not used to thinking like that as humans, but the entire structure is so fucking simple and so easy. I think we're making it hard for ourselves for no reason whatsoever other than, well, we like a challenge every now and then, right? But I go back to my bold ass statement I made in the beginning. You don't love her. You saw something in her. Find that within yourself, right? Fulfill that within yourself and get your crap together on the entire topic of love and feelings and being vulnerable and liking somebody. Shed your shame. You ask yourself, why the fuck do I even have shame? Who taught me this crap? Is this relevant for me? I don't think so. I don't need this. By shame, I don't need you. I think I also have a meditation on shame and guilt. Yes, I do. Well, there you go. You've got all the tools you need, right? And then, and only then, only when you are centered, when you know who you are, when you do not have bad self-talk anymore, when your self-talk is dominantly neutral, slightly optimistic, right? When you feel good about yourself and when you have actually truly processed your breakup, only then you look at that girl again from this perspective, and only then you consider it. And I can guarantee you, but while you are working on yourself and focusing on yourself and taking this attention away from her, not only will you change, the outside world will change too. So she will either get closer to you and more open, because if you do realize that there is something authentic here that's positive, right, that's in your favor, that's supportive of you to getting together or at least getting closer, then, well, duh, the world's going to reflect that back at you, regardless of any affirmations or any manifestation techniques or whatnot. Also, stop reading those like stories online. It's not good. It's putting pressure on yourself, and the majority of those success stories out there that you read about and it's like you can have anything and everything that you want is misinformation. It's just not enough. It's not enough context, and you have no idea who those people are, what they did, what they were thinking about. You don't know this. Don't, generally speaking, that's like general big fat monstrous rule. Do not compare yourself with anyone, okay? Don't do this. And don't put yourself under pressure, and don't like get crazy over different teachings. Follow the beat of your own drum. Whatever the hell resonates with you, resonates with you. If it's not working, you're going to realize soon enough. And if it is working, then yeah, well, stick with it, right? So that is importante. For everybody out there who feels like their love is in any way, shape, or form unrequited, I cannot speak anymore, regardless of the status of the relationship. Sometimes we have married people who feel their love and emotions are unrequited, right? Whatever your relationship status may be, if you feel that, do exactly what I told Jake to do. Figure out what it is that you're lacking on the inside, fulfill it for yourself. Be this guy, emotionally detach from these people in general, go do you, shove everything up your own little butt, right? Be there for yourself, work on yourself, and then you will see that the world is changing in accordance to you or with you. Grammar. I don't understand grammar. It's okay. We can live just like that. And that's like, so that's one option. I did not finish my sentence there. Amazing. That's one option. Either you then see positive changes in form of movement towards that what you originally wanted with that person, or you realize flat out, well, that's not for me, right? And in your case, the tendency is there's an equal, there's like really quite a 50-50 chance here. The fact that you've known her for such a long time but never really cared too much about her could mean that this is really just a temporary thing, and that your emotions towards her got developed in your favor for the sake of getting that kick in the butt to actually go do the work and change for your own sake, so that she's just a catalyst, right? A lot of SPs are catalysts for us. So that could be something. It, like, I strongly lean towards that. And the other option could also be that she herself is a form of a different version of your ex, and you just don't see it yet. So that she herself is essentially the same dynamic that you had with your ex and potentially with your mommy and daddy many years ago. She is the same again, but you are not able to see it yet. But then you work on yourself, and then you will one day look at her and be like, nah. And that's okay too. No matter how it works out, if you invest in yourself, you will win. You will always gain. Okay? I think I've said enough. I shall be back, as I mentioned earlier, whenever I'm done with my own stuff. And I have a few more letters because I've kind of didn't do anything for 2 months on this topic. But if you, regardless of how many emails I have, it really doesn't matter. If you have anything that you want me to make a similar live stream about, if you want me to help you, even if you want to stay anonymously, I don't care. Even if you are a client already, or if you're a complete noob, doesn't matter. Just shoot me an email with the subject Letter to Nis and give me all the juice, spill the tea with me, yeah. And well, if you want it, you're gonna manifest me picking you, right? So that's it. Love you all. See you soon. Goodbye.